Hey guys, hey FanCom, how you guys doing? This is Byron Chamberlain. I'm on live with Armani Edwards. We're going to talk about some of the hot topics that's going on today in the world of the NFL. There's a lot going on as we make this final playoff push. Teams are trying to get in position, but there's a couple of things that we need to discuss. I guess the number one topic that we should start off with is let's just jump right into talking about this the hit on Tom Savage, the quarterback for the Houston Texans. Armani, you saw this hit?
I didn't actually see the hit live, but obviously I heard about it and read about it.
Watch the videos
and everything in that.
Well, apparently he had a seizure on the sideline. I mean, a seizure on the field. Was taken off the field, looked at by doctors, and actually returned to the game for a bit. And now he's been ruled out after going through the concussion protocol. But going back in the game after having what appeared to be a seizure on the field, what are your thoughts about that? What are your feelings about that?
Yes, I actually just looked at the video as you speak, and that's shocking to me that. He's clearly something's wrong. He's having a seizure, and how is it even possible that a doctor clears him to go back in the game? I don't even know where to begin to speak to talk about how dangerous that is just personally. As just in forms of him risking his life, going as far as that. So this is very shocking and kind of disturbing to me that the NFL and their doctors is even allowing a guy to go back in after having a seizure, yet alone a concussion. That just reminds me of how Russell Westbrook wasn't even checked on the sideline when he had that hit in the concussion. They just let him back in the game as well. So
yeah, he kind of ducked in the tent and then ran back out. Yeah. I'm going to speak from my personal experience. Well, first of all, let me say this. I agree with you. From what we know now about concussions, from what we know now about the NFL supposedly having this concussion protocol right there on the sideline and evaluating guys, it's definitely on the doctors and the medical staff. I don't think any coach at this point would put a guy back in harm's way. So to me, it's on the medical staff.
Yes.
And I'm going to speak from my experience. And because it was a different NFL, and I retired. My last game was in 2004, officially retired in 2005. And, I had a similar incident where I didn't have a seizure on the field, but we're playing the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. I get a helmet-to-helmet hit across the middle by Rod Woodson. And I had a issue where my nerves kind of went crazy on the field. Now I was definitely concussed. And I felt like, my nerve endings were just going crazy. It felt like 1,000 needles were being stuck all through my body. Came out of the game. And actually I didn't even get any medical attention and was back in the game the next play. A similar incident in New Orleans. We're playing the Saints, where I get knocked out cold. I was running an out route, didn't realize it was cover two, and I thought it was man-to-man, and was led right into the waiting cornerback out there. Knocked out cold, go out, get some medical attention. Looked at the doctors. Fortunately for me, or unfortunately, it was a TV timeout after that play. So I went back in the game after being knocked out cold. So, but that was a different NFL. I feel like, because we didn't have those protocols in place, those concussion protocols. We didn't have. They're supposedly have a doctor or a person looking at people when they get hit, and if he looks iffy, if he looks groggy, they'll take him out and evaluate him in today's NFL. So that was, like you said, it was kind of disturbing to see him go back into the football game and, like you said, put his life at risk. You know,
Yes, definitely. You know, from a player standpoint, you know, when we get any type of injury, whether it's a concussion, a broken finger, or whatever, we always gonna want to go back in the game because we're doing what we love. And I'm not putting that on Tom Savage at all, because I know me personally, I probably would have went back in too once you know, take a few moments on the sideline and you think you feel fine.
yeah.
So as a player, as a competitor, you want to go back in. So my only problem is just the medical people that's supposed to be on the sideline and to help us stay safe when these incidents happen, and they basically didn't do their job in my opinion.
And I have to agree 100% with you. You know, as a player, as a competitor, you know, you want to be out there to help your team. You want to be the guy that makes the play that to help your team win. We all want to be that guy. But how do we balance out that player safety piece with the fact that we know that inherently football is a rough, dangerous sport? I mean, it's basically the modern day gladiator sport, you know. And to me, I always took pride in the fact that, you know, when we play football, it is going to be tough. It is going to be physical. If it wasn't, you know, everybody could do it. Anybody could be out there and doing it. But it is a game. It is a battle of attrition. It is going to be physical and difficult. But how do we balance that to keep our game, the integrity of the game versus the safety portion of it? But
That's a hard one, because they're trying all kind of ways. It's basically almost flag football out there now. Two-hand tag.
yeah, and that's what we don't want. We don't want it to turn into flag football.
Yeah,
I mean, unless we're going to say, hey, this is flag football, but this is the NFL. This is a grown man's league.
Exactly. That's a difficult question to ask. The answer, I'm sorry. They changed the kickoff rule a few years back to try to prevent it, but it's a contact sport. You're not going to be able to prevent these injuries. I think we're just going to have to be able to sustain them when they happen, and not let guys, you know, put their lives in more danger once these incidents happen. You know, when you're 100% capable, we all know how dangerous this sport is. It's up to us that we want to play it. But when a concussion happens, then now it's in the hands of those medical guys that's on the sideline to tell us or them that, hey, you're not capable to go back in the game anymore. You have to sit out. So,
yeah, I agree with you. I think, like I said, just the balance of the physical nature and the inherent, you know, kind of danger that you place yourself in with the game, because I want to, you know, our game to be rough. I want it to be tough. I want it to be hard. I want to feel like that these guys that are doing it on these 32 NFL teams are the best of the best, and they are the elite of the elite, and not anybody could just step in there and go play. But I want it to be safe as well. You know, and us as players, we don't know. A lot of us don't know all the information that the medical staffs have. We don't understand sometimes what we are actually doing to ourselves by you know, having an injury, going back in the game, and it's up to them to do their jobs and to say, hey man, you had a concussion. We need to monitor you. You can't go back in the game. You can't. Although you might feel fine, you know, now, you know, you really don't know the long-term damage that you could be doing to yourself.
Yes, I take that back. I do have one suggestion. It puts me in the mind of a boxer. You know, a boxer is not gonna box one night and come back the next week. You know, unfortunately, they don't have any equipment on like us, so we're able to come back next week. But maybe taking out Thursday night football, you know, that's a quick turnaround for a lot of guys.
Yeah, I can see that, you know, Thursday night football, because when you play that Sunday, say the Sunday night game or a later game on Sunday, there's not much time to even put in a game plan, let alone get your body right and ready. I think about the times that I played on those Thursday night games. I really never really felt like I totally recovered from the Sunday game to get ready for that Thursday game. So yeah, I agree. And there has been a lot of injuries that we've seen on Thursday night football. I think that's one thing that they could do to make the game a little safer for the guys. Let's move on. Let's talk about this Quentin Jefferson issue with the fans, and so he gets kicked out of the game. He's going off to the locker room, and a fan throws what appears to be a beer or some sort of beverage. Also, fans were throwing ice and other things at him, and he took exception with it and tried to get up in the stands and go after the guy. You ever had a situation like that?
No, I've never had something thrown at me, but obviously I've had, profanity and slurs coming my way, but nothing as far as something, object being thrown at me like Quentin did.
What do you think about his reaction to it?
Watching it, I instantly took his side, but at the same time, I tried to look at it from both aspects as a fan. I wanted to talk as a player first. As a player, obviously the fans and the people outside looking in, they don't realize that we're humans just like them, and this is our workspace. This is our job, and for somebody to come to our job and throw stuff at us like we don't have emotions and react to being injured or hurtful stuff like they would at their job, I feel it just unruly, disgraceful. And, then trying to look at it as a fan, I'm trying to imagine, how do you gather yourself to throw your beer at another human being? And then just to put it in aspect, what if I didn't pay attention to who was in the crowd, but what if there was a 10-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy, 2-3 seats down from you? Now, what are you teaching them? You teaching them it's okay to throw stuff at people? I just try to look at it, in both aspects, and my conclusion comes to the same answer. It's unacceptable, basically.
Well, I was watching my my former teammate Shannon Sharp on his show Undisputed that he does with Skip Bayless, and they addressed this issue. And and he basically said this: a lot of times fans, when they feel like they paid their money, they feel like they can do anything they want to do. They can boo you, they can use profanity, they can to you, they throw things at you. But there's nowhere in that price of admission on the back of that ticket where it's printed that it says that you have those rights to basically disrespect someone by throwing things, by using profanity, by using racial slurs. And to me, it's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable. As a player watching Quentin react, it's something you don't want to see when you are a part of the NFL, because you represent the NFL. You represent your team. He's representing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and so you don't want to see that, as it reflects on the league and on the person and on the team that they're representing. But as a human being, I understand his reaction, because let's take it out of let's change the context. Let's take him out of the stadium and let's just put him a guy on the street.
Yeah.
And he's walking down the street and he does something that you don't approve of or whatever, and you throw this beer at him and you don't expect him to react a certain way towards you after you have disrespected him by throwing a beverage or calling him a racial slur. And now you could see why somebody would react that way. So, I want our fans to feel safe. I don't want them to feel like, if they do or say something, some guy's gonna, one of these guys are gonna jump in the stands and pummel them or whatever. But also, like you said, this is our workspace, and it needs to be an environment that's respectful. I mean, you can disagree with players, you can disagree with coaches' decisions, you can disagree with the referees' calls, you can boo, you can whatever that you feel you need to do, but when it comes to disrespecting another man and you make it personal like that, I think that has no place in the game.
Yes, I agree 100%. You know, I don't really care when people are booing or, you know, talking, using profanity. I always grew up and that was a part of the game. You know, right, the freedom of speech. You're gonna say what you feel, and I always been taught, words don't let words affect you. But when you start throwing stuff, physical objects, then that's a different ballpark. That's basically putting an example as another person spitting on somebody. They're just totally disrespectful, and you cannot sit there and throw something at somebody and expect them to just keep moving forward and not react to what you just did.
Yeah, and like I said, the other component too is when you make it when it's a personal attack, like maybe I missed the block or I dropped the pass on third down, and you yell out, "Hey, Chamberlain, catch the ball, Butterfingers," or whatever. I can understand that. But when you make it a personal attack by using profanity or using racial slurs, using the N-word, that's where I have a very big problem with it.
Yes.
I mean, yes, we are there as a form of entertainment to entertain you, and we know fans are passionate about their teams. No matter where they are, it could be Jacksonville, it could be Green Bay, it could be Seattle. Fans are passionate about their teams, and when you don't perform, and also with the way we're getting paid, when you don't perform your job, they do have a right to complain. They do have a right to voice their opinion.
Yes.
But like I said, you cross that line when you start throwing things at people, when you start using profanity and vulgar language, and like you said, the NFL is a family game, so you have kids at that game. I've seen kids 6, 7, 8 years old, 12 years old at these games, and they watch these adults and they watch what they do, and so you got to understand the example that you're setting for them. And are you going to be teaching them that it's okay to do this? It's okay to disrespect a person, or it's okay to kind of disagree with a performance, but kind of do it in a way that does not demean that person.
Exactly.
So I don't have any incidents. Maybe when we played in Oakland, where people threw things on the field, but no real incidents where I'd go to another stadium and got things thrown at me or that type of situation, or felt like I was being disrespected to the fact that I needed to go jump in the stands and handle it. I remember a situation we played the Oakland Raiders in Denver, and it snowed. And a good friend of mine, Lincoln Kennedy, after the game got hit by a snowball, and tried to run up in the stands and find that guy. And I remember yelling at Lincoln, "Don't do it, because you're not going to win that battle on a lot of different levels." So, let's move on to our final subject, and it's Ezekiel Elliott coming back from his suspension. He's got one more game to serve this Sunday, and then he'll be back the next following week. How does this change the dynamic of the Dallas Cowboys offense and team? Do you think they'll be ready to make a playoff push? You think they'll actually get in the playoffs? Do you think he'll be ready to play?
That's a hard one. He's been out six 6
Yeah,
games.
it'll be 6 weeks.
So it's 6 weeks. That's a long time. Haven't been able to physically play in the game. So, as a player, it's hard you can stay in shape, but football shape is different, and not having that game experience for six weeks, then to come back, and they pretty much probably going to rely on him to get the running game started, because obviously it has been proven now that without Ezekiel in the backfield, the Dallas Cowboys offense can't do a lot of stuff that they want to. I'm interested to see if him coming back will help them make a playoff push, but I would not be shocked if he's not that effective, considering he's been out for 6 weeks, hasn't had any game experience, any practice, so he's going to be a little rusty.
Yeah, for me, looking at the Cowboys down the stretch, it's going to be tough. They're playing the Oakland Raiders, who I think they can get a win with this week. So then he comes back against Seattle Seahawks. And like you said, his suspension is different because his suspension, sometimes you're suspended and you can still go to the facilities and work out and train there. You just can't participate in practice of the game. He couldn't be around the team for 6 weeks, so he had to train on his own. And I know that's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
When you're out there on your own and you're training by yourself. You might have a trainer there with you, but there's no other guys there. And reportedly he left the country to go do that. So that is a hard thing to do. And like you said, you're not playing football. And the only thing to me that can get you ready for playing football is playing football.
Yeah.
Actually physically out there doing it. And Zeke said, from what I hear from all the sources that and I'll disclose this information. I went to college and played college football with Ezekiel's father and his mother. His mother ran track and so he is in great shape. He looks good. He feels good. He's going to have fresh legs, but I don't know if he's going to come back and make that immediate impact on that Dallas offense and running game. Like I said, he's got some tough teams that he's going to be facing. He's going to come back and face that Seattle Seahawks defense. The next week after that, he's got to go play the Eagles.
Yeah.
And to me, the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. So I don't know if he can come back and give Dallas what they need to put them over the top to grab one of those playoff spots.
It's going to be a tough one. They pretty much need all 3 of these games left to give themselves the chance, and I see all 3 of these games going to be tough.
Yeah.
Even though Oakland, their record doesn't show how good they are, I still think they're a pretty good team.
But and technically, Oakland is still in the playoff hunt. There's some scenarios that can happen where that can get Oakland in that wild card spot. So they're still fighting for their playoff lives too.
Yes, and with Philly, I would probably give them a chance, considering Carson Wentz, the tragic injury that he had. So now they have their backup quarterback in. Who knows if he would be able to come in and just not turn the ball over or whatever. I think they have a shot with Philly, but at the same time, their defense is still pretty good.
Yeah, the Philly defense is definitely pretty good. But I think Philly, though, they're very motivated into grabbing that number 1 spot in the NFC. So, I think that defense is going to feel like, okay, Carson's down. We got to step it up even more because they want that number 1 seed going in the playoff. They want that bye week and that home field advantage. So I just see it as tough sledding for Ezekiel once he comes back. I think, man, I just don't see it, man. I just don't. I'm trying to, but I don't. I see the teams that he's facing and the defenses that he's going to be specifically facing in Seattle and in Philly, and I just don't see him having that huge of impact with all these weeks off, and that's where I think is the major thing, because had Ezekiel Elliott been playing these times, there's no question that I feel like he could put the team on his shoulders, and he's shown that before. But 6 weeks is a long time to be out of football, and especially in the middle of the season. And now they're going to try to depend on you down the stretch. It just don't see it.
Yeah.
Anything else that in the NFL world, that topic that you want to discuss, or
what team you think is going to take it all, or what are the two top teams from each division? Team? Yes.
When you talk about taking it all, you always got to talk about the Patriots.
Yeah.
They're sitting in a pretty good position right now. Man, it just seems like Tom Brady, like the dude just doesn't age, man. And then you could throw anybody around him that he can get the ball to.
Yeah.
One of the hottest teams. I'll talk about like some of the teams that are just really hot right now in the AFC. I got to look at the Chargers, and it's funny because they had a horrible start to this season, but they're in a position right now. If they beat Kansas City this weekend, they're number one in the AFC West. They're in a position where they can actually win that division. And the thing about the NFL playoffs is you want to be hot when you come into the playoffs. You don't want to be, backing in the playoffs or losing a game. I remember when I was playing with the Broncos, during our second Super Bowl run, we lost a couple of games near the end of the year, and we had our final game against Seattle. And to a man, it was very important that we won that game. And we had already had home field advantage wrapped up. We had already had the number one seed wrapped up. But it was very important that we won that last game of the year, because we wanted to go into the playoffs feeling like we were trending up, like we were, we were playing some good ball. And so we took that game real serious. We went out and handled our business, and it just kind of gave us momentum for the playoffs. And that's what I see with the Chargers right now. I mean, to me, they're the hottest team in the NFL at this moment. And they're playing with a lot of confidence. Keenan Allen, that guy, he's just taking his game to another level. And he's got a great quarterback in Phillip Rivers. But Keenan Allen, to me, that he's been unstoppable for the last month and a half. And then you look the way their defense is playing too. Guys like Joey Bosa just getting after the quarterback. I can see them making a huge run and a huge push on the AFC side. The team that I like in the NFC, I still like my Minnesota Vikings. I still feel like if they, the way their defense is playing, phenomenal. Case Keenan, he's been the model for a backup quarterback, what you want in a backup quarterback. Somebody that's going to come in, not going to make the huge mistakes. He's a guy that is going to make 4 or 5 plays a game that's going to help you win the game. And he's not going to do things to help to lose the game for them. Adam Thielen has been a phenomenal just story this year, but just a phenomenal playmaker for them. Because, you look at Minnesota and you think, okay, Stephon Diggs, he's the big play receiver. Well, Thielen is actually the leading receiver on that team. So I love them. I love the Vikings. And if they could find a way to get that number one seed and get home field advantage, they got a situation where they'll be playing every game in the Metrodome. Not the Metrodome, the U.S. Bank Stadium. I played in the old Metrodome, but U.S. Bank Stadium, and even be the first team to try to play the Super Bowl there. So, what do you think about your AFC teams and your NFC teams as far as Super Bowl?
I agree with you with the AFC. Obviously, everybody got to run through the Patriots, but I like the Steelers too.
Yeah, Ben's been playing some great ball.
They always, make great runs at the end of the season and in the playoffs. Even last year when, they barely got in, nobody thought they was going to do anything in the playoffs. And they went to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I always like them for the playoffs. So the Patriots and the Steelers, obviously, my top two for the AFC. And the NFC is it's kind of sticky. You know, obviously the Panthers beating the Vikings made me second guess kind
Yeah.
of about the Vikings. I was expecting it to be closer than what it was. I like the Saints still right now coming in the NFC. So I'm looking at probably the Saints or the Panthers that come out the NFC
Oh,
South
wow. That's that. Yeah.
for
Okay.
the NFC side.
So let's go back to the AFC. You mentioned the Steelers. You mentioned New England. Those two teams play this weekend at Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And basically this is a game that could determine who gets that number one spot in the AFC. So if they have to meet again, who's going to have the home field advantage? And they're playing in Pittsburgh. What do you think about this game?
That's a hard one because I don't see Tom Brady having back-to-back bad games. You know,
I agree.
I wanna say the Steelers are gonna take it so bad, but I just can't see Tom Brady having the game that he had in that Patriots offense, having the game that they had last week consecutively. So I'm gonna go out of my norm and I'm gonna say Patriots is gonna steal this one from the Steelers.
Okay. Well, you know what? For me, I'm looking at how Ben Roethlisberger has been playing last few weeks. Antonio Brown has been
Yeah.
playing, and then the way the defense has been inspired by one of their falling guys, losing Ryan Shazier. I think Pittsburgh has something to prove. They've never really played well, in these big matchups against the Patriots. The Patriots usually get the best of them, and I think they're going to be a little tired of that. And like I said, I think they get a little extra motivation from one of their fallen soldiers. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this one. I think Pittsburgh, are really going to come out in battle. They're really going to have that chip on their shoulder, like they really have something to play for. Do I think Tom Brady will play? I think Tom Brady will play great. I think it'll be a great game. I think this is probably going to be the game of the year. But for some reason, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I think they'll take it. But at this point, man, I have nothing else. You got anything else?
I'm pretty good.
Fancom, it's been fun. Love this. Guys, if you're not signed up, go sign up right now. Fancom.fans. It's free. No trolling, no profanity, no bullying. Just good, clean football debates. And you get to talk to guys like Armani Edwards and myself. So everybody enjoy your Friday. Thanks for having us.